Hey guys, how we doing? Right, so we need to get 500 rating points to reach 2004. I wonder how long it will take. Okay, I'm 1504. Opponent is Yanaidu from India. Chess.com have updated their little flags. They're now come a bit more brightly coloured, it seems. Okay, so I'm going with my normal repertoire. I'm going e4, e5. And we'll see how we go. Okay, this is all good. A little bit dopey today. I've got another coffee there. Look, how about that? So I've obviously stumped my opponent with this. Oh, Ponziani. Okay, we'll go Ponziani Countergambit because that's the repertoire. Doing an interesting session for Chess Bootcamp Live. So you might have seen our kind of character-based openings for white that we did. We've decided not to do the equivalent for black this time, but instead what we're going to do is each of us, James and Craig and I, are going to pick recommended openings that you can take from sub 1000 all the way to over 2000. Yeah, if you're going to pick one main thing for white, one main thing for black, what's it going to be? Okay. So what we've done now is we've actually transposed into a Rousseau with c3. So the idea of c3 is to reinforce d4. The obvious thing is obviously f takes e4, right? Hits the knight. Where's the knight going to go? Well, it can't really take there because it'll be took itself. Okay. So if I take and they go here, then we have pressure on there, don't we? What happens if we do this? Are we going to run into d4? Takes. Yeah, he's got three attackers, hasn't he, with the queen behind the pawn. And I've only got 1, 2. Yeah, I've got three attackers. He's got three defenders, so it's kind of not worth it. The move f4 is an idea maybe here. But first of all, let's consider what happens if they do this. Okay, I had a really good lesson yesterday with Matt. Sasha, don't do that because it makes it squeak, doesn't it? Yeah? Really good lesson with Matt yesterday. We played a King's Indian. So I'm going to try and use that kind of thought process in these games. And it's fine to take a bunch of time. What you don't want to do is screw up on move 4 and get yourself in a voice position. So, okay, let's say I take, then he comes in here. Well, what's going to happen? Well, he can't because he hasn't moved his d-pawn yet, right? So the bishop doesn't defend the g5 square, and you can stop it too, and you can stop it, right? So if I take here, he can't go knight here or knight here, right? So I think I can just take. If he goes there, knight takes. If he goes here, yeah. Okay, I'm happy. Right? Pretty simple. 2 minutes of my time used up, but we've played 4 moves. So that ain't bad. Okay, but I don't think this works. Because if you're thinking queen h5 check, I have that. And that, guys, and the queen can't go to e5 with check, right? That is a benefit of having a repertoire, really, that's got some consistency to it and bite. Now, d5 here isn't playable because it is attacked twice and only defended once, okay? But the really obvious move now is going to be knight f6, hits the queen and defends this pawn, right? If the queen steps onto a light square, we've got d5. So let's just sanity check this. I'm not afraid of any checks. That's a check, loses the queen. That's a check, loses the bishop. I think we're okay. So, am I going to tell you what my recommendation is? You wouldn't actually guess it, because it's 2 openings that I don't play. No. Go pay your $9 for month 1 and come and join the session live. Okay. So, right, queen to there. That's defended. That is defended only by the pawn. So here, h6 would be a blunder because queen takes knight, check. There, queen here, king here, and it all goes tits up, which we don't want. Notice I also can't castle short with this bishop there on c4. So I do have this though now, don't I? Because after this move, you've got to notice what changes on every move, right? After knight f6, again, this is something that happens all the time in this black repertoire, the Freddy Krueger repertoire. So I can just do that. And why not? Oops. Why not indeed? Everyone's just annoying me now. So I'm trying to hold my countenance, my composure. If bishop b5, I do have c6 with tempo driving the bishop back. Or is he going to go here? Doesn't really make a lot of difference. But I am up an entire piece. Okay, bishop's gone back. This is a bit unusual, I find. Maybe he wants to go there, but then I can just take. And he can't trade queens because he's down a piece. So he can't go there. Well, if I take, he has to take back with the queen, and that's hunky-dory. So a couple of ideas. Bishop e7 and short castles, yeah, right? The queen side is also relatively safe castling-wise. We do have a slightly advanced pawn, and I would expect there to be then a pawn storm up the queen side. Again, still h6 would be a blunder. This is not a bad move generally. So the trick with bishops, I find, is where does this bishop want to end up, right? And it kind of wants to be on d6, I think, looking down there. Or it wants to be here, looking down there, actually at the king. But if I was to do this, we might get d4. And then, I don't know, am I capturing en passant? What about this bishop? Well, this bishop probably does not want to fianchetto, because this pawn chain is doing quite a good job of annoying that bishop. And this bishop is also pretty neutered right now. So, I think bishop e7 looks okay, but I could put knight there with a discovery. But then what? Queen's hit. Can't go there, 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 there. Queen goes back to these. Well, what about this bishop? Does it have a natural home? Again, not really. Not yet. I mean, either could come out. I'm feeling like I just need to kind of just develop them, then get the queen off the back rank and maybe long castle, or just go straight for the short castles. Bishop e7 or bishop d6 or bishop c5. This, and I could get myself kicked about. That's kind of giving white free kind of queenside space, yeah? I'm just going to go with this, I think. Something about it. Might not be the best. But I don't need to overcomplicate things here. I am a piece up after all. This is exactly what we said about, yeah. So with this move, so he spent some time, hang on. So after I took, he then spent, 12 seconds deciding that he had this, right? And after knight takes, which is what happened, and queen there, yeah, he just didn't think it through, that's all. 12 seconds is not long enough. He's only used 1 minute on his entire clock. Okay, now this might be interesting, okay? Because with this move, Yes, okay, option 1, there is an en passant capture. Well, I think that brings his bishop to life to some degree. Now, we should also consider, like knight here, again, right? We just looked at it, I know, but now the queen can't retreat up this diagonal, okay? So if I go here, it's defended by my bishop, right? So my knight's on this square. Discovery on the queen. Can't go there, 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 there. Can't take the knight. Can't go here. Can't go there, can't go there. So, I go here, the queen can't even get to there. I go here, that queen is going there. Okay, so my knight's on here, the queen's on there. What difference does it make? I mean, I can capture that pawn, but it's defended by the rook. Is there a point to all of this? Well, what's the issue here? Am I worried about this pawn advancing? Well, not a lot, to be honest. I've also got a check, by the way. I can just chuck in a check. I can't put my bishop there. You're right, mate. Bloody hell. Again, I can't do h6. Just got to watch out for that. This queen here. I don't see a big advantage to that. So I'm thinking I'm just going to castle. I think short castles. I've got a semi-open f-file. He's missed his chance at an f-pawn break to counter this centre, but he does have options with these pawns. Well, do I even want to just bring my bishop around? Can't put it there because the pawn pushes, doesn't it? Is this his plan? Attacking my knight. My knight just centralises to here, which is currently undefended. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck in the check. I might stick my bishop back on here. This pawn is defended by queen and knight, so I'm not too worried about that. I think it's simply a case of the king's going to move into the corner. Does that change anything about this? Well, now it's queen tension, which is a different prospect entirely, actually. It might work in my benefit. The knight is not hung. And I've also got this if the king's in the corner. That is a check. Forces the king back. Then my knight gets to move somewhere with a free move because of the discovery. Okay. So now, if here, you take my queen, I take back with the king. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. My next move is likely to be to develop this bishop probably to here, so that it doesn't get away in the way of the queen's defense of the pawn, because now this knight is no longer defending the pawn. So one move always has multiple outcomes in a way, multiple changes. So he's got maybe that, but then I'm going to come in with this. King's forced there. Queen's there, I can't hit her. I could just come here with check. King moves again, I just nab that bishop. Having said that though, that bishop's poor right now. I mean, he can't trade the rook for, because rook for 2 minor pieces might be okay for white. Rook for 1 minor piece is a huge no-no, because then he's down a full rook. Because he's down a knight as it is. I'm on 7 minutes though, so I need to get a shake on here. Queen goes here, I might just retreat the knight to there. If trades, that's fine by me. Happy to have the queens off the board. I'm up a piece. Then I'm just going to consolidate. What you gonna do, you do? I close my WhatsApp tab. Thor, got you, mate. Thor complained the other day that I had my WhatsApp open and it kept going ping. Alright, well that's now forced. That's a no-brainer. You push here, I've got maybe this. Pairing the knights. Then my knight might come back here. There's no advantage to taking. Rook takes. I mean, I've got a checkity-doodah. Checkity-doodah. Here. I can't really do anything with the pawn. I can back there. He goes back in the corner. I'm happy with this, I think. He might try and kick the knight, but the knight can come back to f6. And I'm pretty solid there. It defends these two pawns. I have moved my king, so there's no castling. So I might even think about just like keeping the king in the center here. It's not a stupid idea. No queens on the board. Having your king in the center, ready for an endgame, ready for action, whereas his king is right in the corner, notice. Right, so the quicker we get to an endgame, who's got the most active king? Yours truly. Yours truly. Bishop's probably going to end up here. Unless I just want to contest this pawn. If I can win it, that's absolutely fine. Six minutes 54 now. Notice my opponent is now starting to chew into his time, right? And this is the point. He should have used more of that time earlier on to double check his work before handing in his paper. And that's great for me to say, but, I blunder as well. And so it's a lesson that applies equally to me. Okay. Well, this is, I actually missed that. But I can just capture en passant now. If bishop takes, I'm just going to take it. And we've still actually got this idea. Actually, if bishop takes, I don't even have to take it straight away because I've got that. King here, take the bishop with a discovered check, and then maybe even take another one. Huh! Well, look at you. Okay, I could block with my bishop. But that takes away the opportunity of this. However, block with the bishop. If he pushes the pawn, I just take. It's well defended. I don't have to overthink this, guys. Really don't. You can't take this pawn because you lose the bishop. So now I'm attacking this bishop, I'm attacking this bishop. Okay, there we go. You still can't take that. I may stick my king on f6, where it's using his pawn as a human shield, right? The safest pieces on the board are your own pieces in a way, from that perspective. Anyway, right. Well, that just blunders a piece, surely, surely. Now, again, did you see how quickly I did that, right? I did not check my work. But I've got king f6, I've probably got bishop takes pawn, probably this. Okay. That is a fork on the rook and the pawn. So we'd have to stay on there. I could go to there and annoy that rook, but then it's just going to... Well, it's actually an outpost. However, this pawn ain't the strongest thing in the world. So, I mean, c5, c4 here ain't dumb. But also just knight back here ain't dumb neither. Because he can't attack that pawn. Well, he can on the next move. He's got that. Have I got any way of defending it if he does this? I don't know. Maybe rook f8. Yeah, I like rook f8. I still like c5, c4. actually up at 2 pieces at all here. Alright, that's a check. Do I come here? Knight can't check me. If I go there... If I go there, I've still got 2 attackers on this pawn there with bishop and rook. And I'm not worried about the knight. And I might even just pop back here and just chill. You know, that, hide the king away in the corner. Really nothing clever needs to be done at this point. Okay. Well, I could actually come here because the king defends. And it defends this pawn. But I don't really want to be defending with my king, so I'm just going to stick it back here. I'm not worried about keeping this pawn. I'm up a full entire bishop. Okay, so no theatrics now. No heroics. But I do believe it's time for c5, c4. That doesn't work because of this. c5 it is. 5 minutes 53. He's now down to 10 minutes because he's now having to use some time. In fact, he's been playing his last moves quite quickly. 19, 8, 13, 11, 10, 15, 11. Okay, now c4 hits the knight. Maybe this ideas. c4 hits the knight, does get in the way of my bishop, but it also gives the knight this square, and I'm not sure about that. But he's attacking the pawn. I could push, but the knight takes. Okay, I'm going to do this. He might centralize his knight, but that ain't too bad. Okay, so now it's just going to be a case of bishop here, stops the knight going there. Can push a6, but rook a e8, I think, is the name of the game. Even pre-move this, idea of bringing that back. His last moves were 1.6 and 3 seconds only. So now he's rushing. And when your opponent rushes, I actually have this as well now, because the bishop defends. There, and if takes, takes, we've got isolated potential blockers. That's all right. Knight here is even a thought as well, actually. Knight here, because I could take this pawn, right? And it also opens up hostilities again against this pawn, because it means my rook's attacking it. But how worried are we about this? Am I worried about this? Maybe. That takes, takes. Takes, takes, repair this, little pawn chain, happy days. Just that. Not the most accurate pawn work, I don't think, from my opponent here. Okay, so I'm thinking that. Does have 3 attackers on this, but that means material coming off the board, so I'm alright with that. Even pre-move the recapture with a pawn. He'll take with something. I'll swap my bishop. Simplification across the nation. What are you going to take with your knight? My knight is very safe there. His pawns are in some disarray. I will very happily give up a pawn to get 2 minor pieces off the board, because I've got a knight and I like knights. Here I'm attacking this, but I'm also threatening a rook fork too. Knight takes, bishop takes. Oh, I'm in check anyway. But then this is a very good square, defended by the rook, but where it'd like to be would be like on an outpost up here. Even better, I think. But, you know, I mean, the knight can get up to all kinds of mischief from there. And now he's stopping for a think. After wazzing out a bunch of moves. So my wife is doing a demo today. They're opening a kind of a, what do you call it? Kind of residential venue place as part of the great estate where she works, which is called Welbeck. Okay, I'm really tempted just to do that now. It's got to win stuff, hasn't it? Knight takes here, I take, rook takes, you lose a rook, but, you know. So I'm attacking this pawn, I'm attacking this rook now. It is a fork, he can't actually save both. If this doesn't work, he hasn't got time for that, because he loses a rook. Endgame. En passant is a special pawn move by which a pawn can... Yeah, I know. If, chess.com, if you look at how many games I've played on this platform, it's in 5 figures somewhere. You'll realise that I understand the en passant move. I think we might all be going out for a dog walk, don't you? Although it is just miserable. Oh yeah, so I was saying, yeah, Cuckney House. This kind of little manor that I think they've bought it. And they've spent £25 million doing it up. Okay, knight defends that. I kind of like this though. Also, I'm still attacking this pawn twice, and it is pinned. But this is a tempo move because I'm attacking his rook, yeah, and defending the pawn. So although this is undefended, that's more undefended. Well, it's just as undefended, but it's more valuable. If you want to be like that about him. Now, if he comes and attacks the knight, I've even got b4. Just defend the knight and press up with my pawns. I've got to be slightly careful. You know, he's got enough material here to cause me a bloody nose. However, what I really like is the fact that I've got 3 passed pawns on the queen side. So, I think... And when Bagpuss wakes up, all of the other toys in the shop wake up as well. Here, if he takes me, take back, ain't no point. See, g6 is absolutely fine here as well. And I'll tell you for why. It's because this pawn's actually pinned, isn't it? If that pawn takes there, it's like goodbye, Mr. Rook. Goodbye, Mr. Rook. And I do not worry about this. I will have that pawn, I think. But let's chill. We've got 5.5 minutes, guys. All's well. I like this because it opens up that. I'm +7 materials. You want to take that? I shall trade. Happy days. I could just push up here. There's no check there, and there's no check there. Yeah, I mean, I could chuck in a check of my own. But I like this. I like this move. He's not going there, and he's not going there. So the knight's no threat, and this rook is out of order. Out of action. Here is going here or here. I do have that. If I check and he goes to either of these squares, I've got knight, what's that, knight e2 check. And the king can come forwards to one of these 2 squares. But I've got my knight on the outpost I wanted. I could have actually also stuck my rook on there. That might have been even cleverer. At this point as well, I could even just sack an exchange and be in a very, very good position. Because these pawns are... you know what, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to practice using my pawns to win. And his pawns are doubled and isolated now, so he's He's in a world of hurt. Pushy push. No. That's what I want to do, but I can't. Or do we just deliver checkmate? I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, it's not checkmate immediately because he's got knight blocks. I think that's mate in 2, isn't it? I think the only legal move is this. You resign now. When you lose your queen like that, you resign. There we go. There we go. Okay, and look, guess what we can do? Because I'm logged in with my proper account with diamonds. You are having a laugh. My opponent got 83.7 accuracy, 95.4. Damn. And it says we never got out of the opening. How did we not get out of the opening? We were in an end. There's no queens left. 2250. Christ on a stick. Not one in accuracy, guys. Boom. Right. Well, Saska D team. The newly formed Saska D team. Sheffield Area Schools and Colleges, or Schools Chess Association, because I've got an over the board game tonight. I made one move that was just only good. And it was this bishop move to here with a check. There was a better move. Wowzers. The en passant capture. 0.6 pawns better. But, so, what's the story of the game? The story of the game is that Hunty plays the Consolidating Countergambit, which ain't bad, right? It's better than the Russo, I think, kind of objectively, according to the machine. And that's just a blunder. We thought it through, got a free pawn, and that was poor. And this is like what I said, 12 seconds. Dude's got 14 minutes, 40 seconds left. Right? You should have taken a few more, right? Because that just blunders the piece. Although it's not technically a blunder. But you've got to know about this. I mean, these openings have blown up in my face as well, but after this, you know, all I'm doing is I'm just taking my time. I'm happy about that. Bishop b7, best move. And, you know, that was really the weakest point in my game. Jesus. I mean, 95, that's like Hikaru level, guys. I'm struggling to, not to swear, like a flipping docker. Wow. That's an excellent move. I mean, you know, there are slight improvements, castles and whatever, but what can I say? You know? Smashed it. Smashed it with a 2250 opening accuracy 100. I don't know what to say. Other than 2000, here we come. And on that bombshell, I'll see you next time.